Hi there YouTube. I'm back again to bring to you another lesson. Sorry it's taken so long, I've been very busy lately. Alright, again we are going to use my favorite teaching book, at least for beginners, The Complete Idiot's Guide to Wicca and Witchcraft. This is the 3rd edition by Katherine Gleason and Denise Zimmermann. No credit goes to me, of course. Alright. Today we will be going over Chapter 6. This is titled, What You Need to Do Magic. We're really starting to get into the base stuff, you guys, so I'm going to really need you to pay attention and keep close note to everything. This chapter will basically go over magic tools, where to get them, how to store them, what they're associated with, so we're really getting into it. Before we even start this lesson, I'm going to make a couple points to you guys. First, you don't have to buy all of the tools I'm about to kind of explain to you. A wand. This was my very first wand. It is a tree branch with some melted red wax at the end of it. And it served me for a long time, and it did its job. Very great, very great. My first chalice was a wine glass. So you don't have to go out and spend all this money on getting these tools. First athame, my finger. Then it moved up to kitchen knife, which really isn't good because it's not supposed to be sharp, but whatever. If you feel the need to buy your tools, which some people like to have. I mean, I like to have nice tools, but I waited until I was years into the craft. If you feel the need to buy nice tools, please wait. Don't buy them all at one time, and don't buy them from the most expensive price, because to even be initiated into witchcraft, traditionally you wait a year and a day of study. If you think that this is going to be a fad, don't buy all of them, because you're not going to use them. They're going to sit in your closet and gather dust. So if you need to buy something, buy one thing at a time. And don't buy it from the most expensive place, because you can find magic tools just in the most random places. Where I get all my ritual candles, Hobby Lobby, 99 cents a piece. You can just, it's everywhere, so don't buy from a specific source if it's overpriced. And I'll mention a few websites later. Note that all of the tools that I'm about to go over have a masculine and a feminine energy, and this deals with whether it pertains to the god or goddess. It also has many associations with magic creatures, or elements. Now, whenever I name the elements they're associated with, note that it's a one-size-fits-all religion, so I mean, if it doesn't necessarily pertain to you, you can change it. Even in my own coven, we have disagreements about which tools go with different elements, so it's really not set in stone. Like I said, everything is about intent, so if I name a tool and I say it's for this element and you disagree, there's no problems there, so let's start. With masculine energies, we basically have like the atame, the sword, the wand, anything really phallic shaped, and all of your phallic shaped objects will go on the right side of your altar, because that's usually where the god is represented, is to the right side of the altar. And then we have your feminine tools, such as your chalice, your cauldron, seashells. If your censer is got a dip in it, that would be considered a feminine tool because it is shaped like a womb. And these are typically on the left side of the altar. If you disagree, that's all you. I'm going to name a few sources that I found helpful with my quest to magic tool buying. 13moons.com. 13 as in 13 MOONS.com. Very, very great, reliable, dependable site. All of my things come in on time. Whenever it says that the shipping's going to be here, it's usually here. prices are phenomenal. Like, almost all of my tools are from the site. Very great prices, very good quality control. They never sell me anything that's broken or dingy or dirty or anything. And a perk is that with everything, every order that you get, they will send you a free crystal, whether it's clear quartz crystal or some other type of gem. And that's always great. And customer service, very friendly. Another one is magiccat.com. They have a little bit of a wider selection. Their shipping is very dependable, very nice people. I will tell you not to go to metapot.com, metapot.com. I recently bought a few things there because it great great diversity in products, but they did not, whenever I got my shipment, it did not have all my items in it. They didn't charge my card whenever they were supposed to. They kind of ignored my questions from customer service. So I've had quite a few problems with that website, so I would stay away from there, to be completely honest. Alright, on with the tools. We will start with arguably the most important tool, the Athame. Now, I had made a video with my old Athame in it, and I loved that Athame, but it was very thin, very, more of a decoration, so I'm going to use that Athame as a decoration, and I bought a new one. As you see, it has a tree of life on it. Very, very beautiful, very dependable. I got this from 13 Moons. It was a gift to me. Now let's talk a little bit about Athames. Like I said earlier, an Athame is considered to be a masculine tool because, as you can see, it is phallic shaped. Athames are quite important for the craft because you basically do everything with it. Your Athame should, in the end up being one of your favorite tools and one of your best friends. An Athame typically is double-edged, meaning that it's kind of like a dagger. Note that it should be as dull as you can find it, because Athames are not meant to cut herbs or stones or, God forbid, people. It's purely used for cutting energies and nothing else. So you really want to find it as dull as you can. And typically Athames are associated with the element air. Next, we will go to chalice. This is my chalice. I also got this from 13 Moons, and it's got a Celtic knot right here, and I can never pronounce the word, triquetra. And this chalice is actually plated with silver, and I got that thing for like $16, so I'm just gonna brag on 13 Moons for a little bit more. The chalice is, associated with the goddess because it's a womb-shaped object. It's typically associated with water. That's understandable. It's basically a fancy cup. It's used for the Great Rite, which we will get into in later chapters. Many witches own more than one chalice. And that's especially true for covens. I've found that my coven, we started out with using chalices, and then it got so big that we use Dixie cups. Dixie cups are acceptable. It is still a womb-shaped object. Your chalice can be a wine glass. It can be a Dixie cup. It can be anything that has a dip that you can basically drink out of. Like I said, magic tools don't have to be the expensive ones. Next, mortar and pestle. I actually got this from a local metaphysical store about a year ago. I used to be friends with the manager, not so much anymore. But that is a marble mortar and pestle, and if you can get a marble mortar and pestle, mortar and pestle, it's the best, because with marble you can use it for years and years and years, and it won't wear or tear. I've had that thing for about a year, and I use it almost every day, and it's still brand new. A mortar and pestle are basically, they're used to grind herbs, and It's not really listed in the book, but I think it's very important simply because of how much I use it. I tend to lean towards candle and herbal magic, so naturally it's very important to me. Next we will go to incense. I don't have any up here. Um, know that incense is very important in the craft, just because you kind of use it to cleanse. You use it, depending on what kind of incense it is, you'll use it for typical, different rituals. Very important. Um, they have 3 different types of incense: stick, cone, and powder. I tend to stick with the stick kind, just because it tends to be the cheapest and the easiest to use, because you have to have the special bowl for the cone or powder or the censer or whatever. I have one of those nice little pallets that have the hole in it, and I just stick it in there, and it's fine. Next is the illuminator candle. This is arguably one of the most important candles you can have, because the illuminator candle is the candle that you light first, and then with the illuminator candle you light your other candles with it. I have inscriptions on all of my candles. This one is inscribed with the symbol for light and fire, because it's basically to light fires. And the reason it's arguably the most important candle is because it's the candle that touches every other one of your candles, all of your elemental, your watchtowers. If you have a candle for totem, ancestor candles, god and goddess candles, it's supposed to touch all of them. Some witches don't use an illuminator candle, they just use lighter or matches for whatever. I like to use my illuminator candle as much as I possibly can. So we will go over the pentacle and the pentagram. This is the part where I bring the media in, because not only is the media wrong about the religion itself, it can't even get the symbol name right. What I have on my neck is called a pentacle, not a pentagram. A pentagram is just the star. A pentacle is the star in the circle. The pentacle is not an evil symbol. I guess you could have guessed that by now, but it's not an evil symbol in any way, shape, or form. It was actually used by the Catholic Church years before the Inquisition as a symbol of protection. I made a nice little diagram right here. I'm not sure if you can see it so well because of the light. But as you can see, let me get this. Every different point has a different meaning to it. The top point is spirit. This is basically the god and goddess, the spirit in all of us. And then this is air. Now it's going to look backwards because of my webcam, but bear with me. This is air. Air is basically intellect, blah blah blah. We're going to get into this all in later chapters. Then we have earth. Earth is healing and fertility. Fire. Fire is my favorite. I might too. So now they're really important for any ritual, just because it's a symbol of all the elements. And the circle on the pentacle means several different things: everlasting love, everlasting life, because a circle is never ending. Um, and typically the pentagram, not the pentacle, but the star, the pentagram, is associated with Earth. Um, that's arguable. Then we have the wand. Now, like I showed you earlier, this was my very first wand. Like I said, it's a stick with wax on it. This is my new wand that I've had for, I want to say, 2 years now. And it was a gift to me. So it's very special. It's always better whenever your tools are a gift to you, because it means it has more meaning behind it. Um, Now, a wand is a phallic-shaped object, so that naturally means that it would be on the right side of the altar for the god. Um, it can be made from a range of materials. Your wand can be made of cotton balls if you want it to be. It's typically out of wood, and then don't forget that every type of wood has different associations, so you really want to keep that in mind whenever you are buying or making a wand. And typically the wand is associated with fire. Again, that's arguable. Then we have the bell. I don't have my bell up here with me, but the bell is used for calling the quarters or a deity. The censer, that's just a tool to hold your powder or cone incense. The cord is kind of like a belt slash rosary, because I use my cords to help me keep count of any type of chant, because a cord is basically string or yarn or any type of cloth with knots put into them. You can also do individual cord magic where you use the knots to symbolize something. And then cords have different thickness and colors depending on. Cords are also used a lot in binding magic, which I really don't do at all. I think I found one once in my many years of witchcraft. And then we have divination tools. In my coven, divination is a pretty common theme. Now keep in mind, divination is not ever a specific question. It's always open-ended, because in life you make your own path, you change things. There's cause and effect. It's all you know. So no stack of cards or set of runes are going to tell you what you're really going to do. But I will share my divination tools with you. First, I will share with you my tarot deck. And my tarot deck is especially important to me because it was given to me by one of the elders of my coven, and he is also my main teacher. Divination is a lesson in its own. There's the major arcana and the minor arcana. And the minor arcana is hell in itself to memorize, or even learn to read with just your intuition. But my divination set is a Celtic set because I do worship under the Celtic pantheon, and they are very, very important to me. And then I will also show you my rune set, which again was a gift. People seem to love me for some reason. This rune set is a rune set of Tiger's Eye, because Tiger's Eye is my stone. I'll show you one as an example. Alright, and there's the rune to it. Tiger's Eye has great properties. It eases depression, it helps with courage. It's basically in itself kind of a trigger for transformation, and that's one of the reasons that it was so important to me. Now we're going to move on to the Book of Shadows. I'm not going to show you my Book of Shadows. Not many people actually ever see it. A Book of Shadows is supposed to be a very personal book. Now, there are one or two people who I've showed certain things out of it. But in hindsight, or at all, it's really not ever good to let someone just rifle through your Book of Shadows, simply because it becomes a part of you, really. With my Book of Shadows, I include not only spells, but rituals I've performed, rituals I've been in, my dreams, and personal entries. Now, some people like to make a Book of Shadows and then a grimoire. That's fine. A grimoire is kind of like your magic cookbook, where you have all your information in it and spells you performed. I find it just a lot easier to put it all in one book, and then color code the top of the pages so I know which one's which. So that will be for you to later decide. Alright, we're coming to the end of this lesson. And we're basically going to talk about um, the proper attire for ritual, and what would be in a witch's wardrobe. Narnia. But typically, if a coven does not work skyclad, typically it will work in robes. My coven doesn't do that. We're very relaxed, we're very chill, we'll just, we're going to purify ourselves with a sage stick, and then we're good. I have a robe that I've made myself, that I only use for special occasions, for very big spells I perform, so it's not used a lot. But using a robe every time you do magic is hard, because you basically have two types of witch. The witch who's a witch sometimes, and that's why they can use their robe only when they do magic, and then a witch who's a witch all the time. I try to be a witch all the time. I try to keep in mind the Wiccan read every second of every day, which is tiring, but I do it. So there's no possible way I could just always have a robe on, or always be in a robe. But it is nice to have something special for, like, the Sabbats or the Esbats. Note that the High Priest and High Priestess usually have some kind of symbol or jewelry or special color robe to symbolize that they are the High Priest or Priestess. Like, they usually wear crowns or some kind of jeweled headband, or they'll wear a different color robe if the whole coven wears robes. Ours doesn't. We don't care. And then note that there's going to be different types of robes for different events. For Wiccanings, which is kind of like a christening for a child. Hand fastings, which is a Wiccan wedding. Hand partings, which is a Wiccan divorce. Your initiation robe. So we are very stylish. It's also good to have kind of like a special piece of jewelry or special shoes or something that you only wear then. This is my everyday pentacle. I wear this basically every day. I do have a pentacle that I wear only for ritual, only for Sabbath and Esbat days, and that makes it naturally accumulate a lot of power. Adorning with body art on page 79. Some witches like to get just tattoos all over of Wiccan body art. That's cool with me. I think it's great. Like, we had someone in our coven who was just all over just pentacles and dragons, and it looked great. Now, I don't have any tattoos right now. I am planning to get a couple of pentacles. Of course, it would be where no one can see because of the whole "you'll never get a job" thing. And so we will go on to the least you need to know now. The least you need to know. The most common mistake a new witch makes is to buy too much stuff. Acquire your tools slowly. Enjoy the process and see how many of your magical things come to you. With this, like with my wand, I found this stick on the ground. I thought it was perfect for a wand, and it's oak wood, and it turned out to serve me very well for many years. So sometimes you don't even have to buy your own stuff. One will just show up for you. Don't let anyone sell you things you do not need. They'll try to do that. Don't do it. Also, don't convince yourself to buy something that you really don't need just because you think you need it. That kind of goes with everything, but whatever. Make sure to keep your magical tools in a safe place away from children and people who might want to use them for mundane purposes. That's something I forgot to mention. Say you live in a house with a lot of kids. I'm fortunate enough to just live in a house with 2 people, and we respect each other's privacy. So I'm fortunate enough to be able to set up an altar and have it there 24/7 with my tools just lying around on it. Some people aren't that fortunate. If you are a witch and you have siblings, keep your stuff locked up. Because we use an athame, and we use a chalice, and they have magic purposes, and an athame can be sharp sometimes, and you don't want anybody accidentally hurting themselves. And then with your chalice, if you're using a regular wine glass, keep it locked up, because you don't want someone to use it just to drink something out of it. You know, you want to keep it for magic purposes. Even with a coven, in the room they usually practice in, they usually have a special closet to keep it locked up in. Keep your magic clothes and jewelry special. Don't wear them for everyday use. And that's why I have my special pentacle. Alright, everyone, thank you for tuning in. Our next lesson will be Chapter 7, Observing Ritual and the Wiccan Way. Alright, thank you guys so much. Blessed be.